Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today I want to tell you, you need to follow the oil and Dilip Rao Ripple XRP holders. That's what you need to do. I cannot stop seeing Dilip Rao, and I hope I'm not murdering his name there. I hope that that's the right way to say that. But this guy is just so you know, he's the global head of infrastructure innovation at Ripple. I can't even log on to Twitter without seeing this guy. At every turn, somebody's posting something that he said or somewhere that he is. And my gut is telling me, and I'll show you another reason at the end, my gut is telling me that the Middle East is where it's all going to happen. And I'm just putting all this together through common sense, and my gut is now screaming at me. And so I decided to make this video and call it Follow the Oil and Dilip Rao Ripple XRP holders, because I smell something. I smell the money is what I smell. First, okay, now this was a tweet on October the 29th by him. And he says, Chairman of Kuwait Finance House, and he quotes him, "We are working with Ripple and tested a service that challenges incumbents like Swift." And then, he just keeps popping up everywhere. Then, this was on October the 30th, okay? He's speaking, and this is from, let me give credit here, XRP Research Center, at XRP Center. He puts out a lot of good information on XRP. Go follow him. And while I'm thinking about it, I told you the title of the video is to follow the oil and Dilip Rao, and so follow Dilip Rao. Go. He's at DILIPRAO. Says address how Ripple, DLT, Codius, and XRP fit with Islamic Sharia principles. Dilip also confirms that Ripple has already closed almost 200 production agreements. And that was, this was yesterday, and he was speaking at this Global Islamic Economic Summit 2018. And he actually put a chart up of some of the, production agreements that Ripple now has. Before this, I thought they only had 100, but I knew they were growing that. But he mentioned that in this speech. But I want to make sure that we focus on this as well. I remember reading a year or so back that digital assets had to follow Sharia principles, and I remember reading a few articles where I forget the name of the organization that passes these things and proclaims that it is in line with Sharia law. But over in the Middle East, that is a very important thing. And so he is addressing that to this audience in the Middle East. So moving along. So then this is also yesterday. This is a tweet by the Dubai Islamic Bank. And I guess they were sponsoring that same conference. Topic: Islamic economy in a distributed, digitalized, and decentralized world, blockchains, cryptocurrencies, marketplaces, and digital identities, Global Islamic Economy Summit. And then they feature him, Global Head of Infrastructure Innovation at Ripple. And he was one of the speakers. Then he tweets this, and this was from yesterday as well. On the road to Abu Dhabi, have traveled more with Ripple in the last 3 years than my entire life prior, I suspect. And then move along to today. There are literally it was like boom, boom, boom. There were 3 articles that popped up. Every single one of them are featuring Dilip Rao. Ripple to open an office in Dubai by the end of the year 2018. Has signed 200 financial institutions, reveals executive. and then they go down here to talk about different things. But this is him speaking here. He says, if you now think about machines talking to each other, doing maybe 50 billion transactions every year, we are now talking about micropayments, 1/10 of a cent. The existing infrastructure is unable to cope with these very low value, high volume transactions. We think that it is a requirement to build a new set of infrastructure to be able to support this kind of digital economy. And then he was up here talking about SWIFT. If you wanted to send money out of the UAE today, it can be a costly and a slow exercise in some parts of the world. South Asia, for example, has given up on using SWIFT and have built their own proprietary technologies to interface into these corridors, so that move money quickly and cheaply to meet the needs of the customers in these high volume corridors. And so they talk about how the Middle East is a fast growing marketplace. But the important thing to get out of this is that Ripple is going to open an office in Dubai. Moving along, Ripple executive states that XRP aligns very well with Sharia law, push for adoption into the Middle East. Look at all those people. So he says, moving down here, I wanted to read this part. I think the UAE government saying that 50% of all government transactions will be on distributed ledger technology by 2020 is a fantastic way to encourage innovation, to bring fintechs to your market, and then build the capability locally to iterate on those solutions that the fintechs bring you. And so he's talking here about bringing XRP to the Middle East. He's telling them that it's Sharia compliant. This is huge. And then there was a third article with the same guy. XRP trading is a chicken and egg problem. SWIFT has no fans in the Middle East, states Ripple's Dilip Rao. And then he goes on, he says, I think generally innovation is held back by our legacy systems, and I think sometimes if a legacy system is so old that you want to throw it in the dump, you don't have to worry so much about what you've got. You just say, I'm going to dump this and I'm going to go to the new shiny thing. You have to create a marketplace. Right now we have 150 to 200 exchanges around the world that trade XRP. A lot of it is, as you say, very shallow trading by individuals. That is not the use case that we are pursuing. In the last quarter, the bulk of XRP sales were institutional investors. As this transitions away from retail to institutions, we'll start to use it for wholesale financial usage. That's when the turning point will come. And so Ripple is now moving into the Middle East, and this guy is working his butt off. And I say to Ripple, give that man an XRP raise. And I want to finish this video by showing you something that C3 Nick, and if you don't follow C3 Nick at 3C_Nick, go follow him. I tell you this over and over. Back on May 10th of 2018, C3 Nick said, follow the oil. And I think that if anybody is showing to have had a crystal ball, C3 Nick is. And today, I tell you to follow the oil and follow Dilip Rao, XRP holders, because something is afoot in the Middle East. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that the digital asset investor said that Dilip Rao needs a raise from Ripple, an XRP raise. Thanks for listening.